Khurumjari. Dear learners, in this session, we turn our attention to process verbs, one of the three fundamental verb classes in the Manipuri language. As outlined in our earlier discussions, Manipuri verbs are not merely classified on the basis of argument number, but more crucially in terms of the type of situation they encode. In this respect, process verbs occupy an important intermediate position. They denote situations that are dynamic and temporally extended, yet crucially lack the involvement of a controlling external agent. In other words, process verbs encode internally evolving situations, events that unfold gradually through time as a natural consequence of the inherent properties of the participants involved. The change expressed by such verbs is therefore endogenous rather than externally induced. This semantic property distinguishes them with both from static predicates which lack internal development and from action verbs which typically involve agentive initiation. From a structural point of view, process verbs in Manipuri may be systematically classified into three groups based on their valency patterns, that is, the number and type of arguments they license. Group 1, monovalent process verbs, theme only predicates, that is, theme plus only predicates. Let us begin with Group 1 process verb, which represent the most basic valency pattern. These verbs occur with only a single core argument, namely the theme. Examples: Sangom phammi, milk curdled, nungsit sitli, wind blew, lay sadly, flowers bloom. In these examples, the nouns sangom, milk, nungsit, wind, and lay, flower function as themes, that is, as entities undergoing or participating in the process denoted by the verb. The predicates pham, curdle, sit, blow, and sad, bloom describe processes that develop spontaneously without any explicit external cause. It is important to note here that the declarative suffixes me and li serve to encode prepositional force while also allowing for interpretations such as past or habitual depending on discourse context. What is more significant, however, is the semantic profile of these constructions. The events of curdling, blowing, and blooming are gradual, internally driven processes, unfolding over time without agentive control. Thus, Group 1 verbs may be characterized as monovalent in structure and internally coarse in semantics, representing the prototypical case of process predication in Manipuri. Representative verbs include pham, curdle, mun, ripen, chak, burn, how, grow, own, change, nick, sack, sow, boil. Now let us turn to group 2, bivalent process verbs, that is theme plus related argument. We now move to group 2, where the structure becomes slightly more complex. In addition to the theme, these verbs license a second argument, which may bear a range of semantic roles such as person, location, instrument, cause, beneficiary, or associate. What is particularly noteworthy here is that despite the presence of an additional argument, the event is still conceptualized as a process rather than an action. That is, the second argument does not necessarily introduce agentivity, but instead participates in or specifies the unfolding of the process. Let us have the patterns. A. Theme plus person. Ai mabu ui. I saw him. Ai lyric mangi. I lost the book. In these examples, I functions as the theme, while mabu, him, and the lyric, book, function as person. The contrast between animate and inanimate persons is reflected in case marking, with animate nouns typically marked accusative, while inanimate ones may remain unmarked. Dear learners, listen carefully. Although these constructions might superficially resemble transitive action clauses, they are treated here as process construction because the focus lies not on deliberate action but on the experience or occurrence of a process involving the theme. B. Theme plus locative arguments. I mangolom the liengi. I move towards him. Makoy hockey the boy. They lost in the game of hockey. Usiek lang the tui. The bird got trapped in the net. Here, the additional argument appears in the locative form and encodes special relations such as goal mangolomda towards him, source hockeyda in the game of hockey, or location langda in the net. These elements serve to encode the process within a spatial frame, specifying where or in relation to what the process unfolds. Thus, the event structure becomes richer, but the processual nature of the verb remains intact. A sample list of such verbs is given now on the screen. Tao, float. Perk, stick to. Yarn, hang from. Thank, thus. To, fall to. Net, trample. Gain, fall from. To, get trapped. Pour, lose in a game. On, roll on. Leng, move to. Kai, get grounded. She, theme plus cause or instrument. Mahak, cancer na she. He died of cancer. Makun ashi, laibang na pulli. This hole filled with mud. In these constructions, the clause exhibits a theme argument accompanied by an additional participant encoding cause or instrument morphologically marked by the suffix na. Notably, this marker is homophonous with the nominative case, though its functional role here is distinct. From a semantic and syntactic perspective, the na mark constituents does not instantiate an agentive role. Rather, it denotes a non-agentive causal or instrumental participant, functioning as the source or medium through which the process unfolds. This aligns with the defining property of process verbs, namely that they encode internally evolving non-agentive eventualities. Accordingly, in both examples, Mahak, he, and Makun, she, these all serves as theme arguments of their respective predicates she, thy, and fully, feel, undergoing a change of state without the involvement of an external agent. Representative verbs include poke, burn, take, break of the branch, low, entangle, pun, fill of the whole, pun, entangle, she, die. The pattern, the, theme plus beneficiary. Mahaki pibam soi. His condition deteriorated. Mahak pibam soi. He deteriorated in condition. The alternation between genitive mark and unmarked constructions reveals a subtle semantic distinction. The genitive construction foregrounds the possessed entity condition, while the unmarked version shifts focus more directly onto the theme itself. These sort of process verbs include poke, begat, sock, deteriorate, lame, be lapped over, chick, pain. This illustrates how case marking interacts with interpretation, allowing for fine-grained semantic distinction within process construction. Pattern E, theme plus associate. I maga yai. I agree with him, generant or habitual. I mabu yai. I agree with him, specific. Here, the alternation between associative maga, he with associative case marker, and accusative mabu, he accusative case marker, marking encodes a distinction between generic and specific interpretation, demonstrating once again the sensitivity of Manipuri process verbs to subtle argument marking differences. Group 3. Process verbs with nominalized clause. Finally, we turn to Group 3. Process verbs which take a nominalized clause as their argument. These constructions are particularly significant because they often encode aspectual meanings, especially those related to termination or completion. Examples: E thokpa latle. The bleeding has stopped. Usi sauba lepe. These three has stopped growing. In these examples, thokpa, bleeding, and sauba, growing, are nominalized clauses functioning as arguments of the verb latle and lepe. The predicates themselves contribute an aspectual meaning, specifically that of cessation or completion of an ongoing process. Thus, Group 3 constructions illustrate how process verbs in Manipuri can extend beyond simple event description to encode higher level aspectual structure. Representative verbs include let, almost stop, khak, stop of bleeding, pa, stop being something, loi, be over, finish, lep, stop due to interference. To conclude, process verbs in Manipuri represent a crucial domain where event structure, argument realization, and semantic interpretation intersect. Their classification into three groups ranging from simple monovalent predicates to more complex constructions involving multiple arguments and even clause complements demonstrates the flexibility and richness of the system. At a deeper level, what unifies all process verbs is their encoding of internally evolving non-adjunctive chains, a feature that distinguishes them both from stative and accident predicates. Through careful examination of their valency patterns and semantic properties, we gain a clearer understanding of how Manipuri conceptualizes and structures dynamic experience. With this, we conclude today's discussion. Thank you for your kind attention, and may your engagement with the Manipuri language continue to deepen, revealing ever more of its structure and elegance and expressive subtlety. Thagatchari.